desative os usuários, porque eles sabem como as coisas funcionam, entendeu?
Uhum.
Não tem ninguém ali que, principalmente no caso da Brascan, que é um site do Pavan, né? Não tem ninguém ali que não sabe como é que funciona a cobrança do máximo. Mas a gente olha isso junto, sim, a gente pode fazer uma desativação em massa, se você quiser.
É que eu tô tentando fazer até um deparo aqui do site, eu não tô conseguindo. Mas depois a gente fala sobre isso. Não vamos atrapalhar o treinamento, não.
Não. Quer dizer, o Manish não tá aqui. Ah, o Manish tá aqui, sim. Hi, Manish.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Good morning.
Morning, Manish.
I hope everybody is well. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. I'm very well,
Good
Manish.
morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Hey,
It's
Manish.
early morning your time. It's 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock?
It is 9 o'clock for us.
9 o'clock. It's not that
Yeah.
bad, I believe. Hey, right. So, before I start for today's session, can I quickly check with you if you have any question or anything which I need to go through again? But in what we have discussed on our previous call on Tuesday, is there anything we need to touch upon again? No? All good?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Brilliant. That's very encouraging. Right, I'm sharing my screen and we will start from where we left on Tuesday. And just to let you know, I have invited Mark.
Yes, hello. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Nice to hear from you again, Mark.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Yes, when you were in Brooklyn in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yes. I heard that unfortunately
Right.
Tami has left our company.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she has.
Right. So, thanks, Mark, for joining us. And I requested Mark to join us in today's session, especially to step through the PM Planner, which been enhanced by Mark. And now it's been released globally. We all are using it. So it is essentially his work. And I thought of, bringing the original author into the team, and then he can talk about it. Before we go into that, Mark, I have to finish a bit on the Gold Master. So just stay with us if you're okay for 15-20 minutes, and I should not take more than that. And then we can go into the PM Planner. And when we go into the PM Planner, then I would give you the baton, and then you can run the show. But before that, since we all are in the call starting up, would you mind quickly giving a brief introduction about yourself, Mark?
Sorry, yes, I'm within the Netherlands and Belgium, together with my colleague Rudolf Majé, the Maximo champions, and we support in giving training in Maximo, loading Gold Masters, and helping to develop tools which make us all more effective and efficient. Is that enough?
Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
So we have around the table the team, and I will ask Nathan just a quick brief about the team we have at the Brazil side, so that Mark knows who we are on the call.
So, Mark, these are the Brazil deployment team.
Yes.
Along with Evandro, who is our manager. So
Yep.
he's the deployment lead for Brazil. So Vitor is our was our intern. Now he's going to be part of the team for good. Bartolo and Rafael and Roger are the people who most deal with the templates and do data collection on site.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So
Got the whole region right
and
here.
I think both of you knows me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So that was a quick introduction. I hope we'll get benefited from Mark's session in next 15-20 minutes starting. So I would go into the goal master. We covered or we finished the asset sheet, and the next sheet on the goal master which need to be filled is the people data. And I'm sure you can see my screen. If not, please let me know. I have shared it. So people data is, yeah, you can see it?
Yep.
Nathan?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, sure.
Right, fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, so the people data, we collect people data in Maximo, not necessarily for the labor and not necessarily for user. In other words, if we create a people record, it can stay as just the people record, and we can choose not to create a label on that people record, and we can also choose not to create a user on that people record. But also, if we want to have a user, Maximo user account or a labor record in Maximo system, we need to have a people record in system. So it's other way around. People record can be people. Those are Sodexo employees. Those are customer users or consumers. And as I said that all those Sodexo employees you can put there for the site in this people sheet. If they not necessarily they would be using Maximo or not. That's regardless. Okay. So very simple data in here, the first name, the last name, and then it brings out the display. So if I can just say, and I'll start, the first line is always fixed, the green, autofill is for the non-system user, and you don't need to touch it. It is something when there is, that is a case when help desk receives a call from a customer, and that customer is not registered in Maximo for some reason, then they can pick up this generic line, which is non-system user, and create a service request on that name. Okay. Other than that, giving an example. Yep.
Manish is Evandro talking, and I'd like to ask you something about assets. Then, when can stop this people and other kinds of topics? I'd like to come back to the assets because I have a question, but not now. You can continue this discourse, okay? It's not necessary to stop that right now, okay?
Okay, maybe towards the end of the call, we can you can raise a question and we can try to answer that. Is that okay?
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. So going back to this sheet, the first name is first name, the last name is last name. And you can see that until I enter the email address, which is the column H, the person ID on the column C is the first letter of first name and the last name, the concatenation. Okay. The moment I give my email ID, which is supposedly be a unique anyways, yeah, because email IDs are unique. So when I give my email ID, and then it replaces the person ID from my first name, the first letter of first name, last name to that code to the email ID. So that becomes the person ID in system. Okay. Yeah. So and then there is a primary phone number. If there is any phone number attached to this person record, give it on the column I. Active, not active. So generally, when we're loading data for new site, we don't load data for inactive people. It is on for active. It is only the case when an additional data load for the existing site. If you have people records, those have left the business or the consumer side or the Sodexo side, and you want to make them inactive in bulk, then you cannot give us the data in this sheet saying that we want all these users or the people to be marked as inactive. Then we can, that from the bulk data load, all people can be made inactive in the system. Okay. Then the time zone, generally this should be the time zone you have selected in the site. For the bigger sites, and we don't really, other than US, there are very less possibility that you would have a different time zone than the site time zone for people. Okay. Select the appropriate, like we have selected something. I'll select the same one here. I think that was the same. What the language is. So if the language which we have selected is different, then you can select a language here. Otherwise, you use the same language which you have selected for the site. Okay. Locale, again the same. Okay. So in the English, I can say is, for example, if I'm in Singapore, I can use the United Kingdom. And that's important. So although this says that it is a customer vendor type, so ignore that. It basically says that whether this user is a customer user or is it an internal user, means Sodexo employee. Okay. When you say internal user, then you might notice that the color is changed now. It is now in pink or light red. But when you change it to external or the customer, then color will change to, I don't remember what, but it changes the color. So that it kind of, prompt you that, oh, if I see blue, that is customer. When I see the light red, it is the internal. Okay. Just an indication purpose only. Okay. And of course, the last column to be filled in is the location. So mostly for Sodexo employees, we put them under property, okay, or to the site directly, right? But if it is a customer user and you would like to, you have a choice to select the location. So if there is an employee who is always on the, his office is on the 3rd floor, then you can say that, and that's specific. If you know the room he sits in, then you can select that room or the floor for that employee. What happens is when the service request, when he raises a service request and the person that help desk selects his name as a requester, his location automatically pops in. Okay? So that's the benefit of using the correct location. However, if you don't know it, you can use the highest location for the user or for the people, person record. Okay. So that's pretty much about the people data. Okay. Any question? No? Okay.
No,
moving on
so.
quickly. Yeah. Brilliant. Moving on quickly on the shift. Now the shift, we see a lot of error on the shift. Okay. Now let me talk a bit about the shift here. We have shifts in this sheet to create shifts for labor and also for asset. So we can create labor shifts in this template or in the sheet, and we can also create shifts for asset. Okay, asset shifts are shifts where the asset is basically supposedly operational. Okay. Now, for the labor shift, for the labor shift, there can be many labor shifts depending on the labor arrangement and the SLA expectation of the site. Okay. But it is not necessarily same as we have the SLA shift. SLA shift is the shift or is the period in which we and Sodexo are contractually obliged to deliver our services on the site. So if let's say we have signed a contract to say the customer or with the client that we will provide our services from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Friday, also on Saturday until 2 p.m. So that is our SLA shift, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But when it comes to labor, we might have two labor shifts. One labor shift is from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and another one is from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. So 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. is our labor shift. Okay, there are two shifts in one SLA shift. You understand, right? So that's the difference. We can have multiple labor shifts, but the SLA shift mostly, if it is flat, then it's only one shift. Okay, 5 days, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Make sense? Okay, so until row 11, you can define your labor shifts. From row 19 to from 19 to 21, in this one, you can define the asset shifts. Okay, so I'm just creating one labor shift here, just for an example purpose only. So let's say my shift starts from Monday, and this is a very typical site for 10 hours, and its start time is 9 a.m. and end time is, come on, oops, sorry. Okay, and we say 10. Now I want to also create a shift, the asset shift, and in this asset shift I say, okay, probably let's do it a little bit differently, and I say that I have a shift which starts, we say 12 hours, which is a little bit inhuman. Nobody wants to do a 12-hour shift, but let's say that for example purpose, and it starts at 7 o'clock in the morning and goes up to 7 and 12, 19, I'm sorry, yes. So yeah, 19 hours. This is an office building, and the expectation of asset uptime is 10 hours. It's basically from 9 to 6, let's say. 9 to 6 is 9 hours, I think. Yeah, 9 hours. So we say that it is asset uptime or asset shift should be Monday, starting from Monday, 9 hours. Start time is 9 o'clock. And it is 18. I'm sorry, I did something wrong. Okay. Right. Okay, so now I have created two shifts here. And remember the other day I skipped that point. On the asset, I have ability to define a shift, which is called maintenance shift. And there is a column here where you can say where is that column gone? No. Here, maintenance shift. Now if I open the drop down, I would see that shift I have created, the shift 1. Okay. So if there is a scenario where you have a very critical asset and we were supposed to report on the downtime or MTBF, MTTR, then you probably would like to create a shift on that asset. Otherwise, just giving an example, a scenario, if you don't create a shift, the asset is supposed to be up and running for 24 hours technically, because when you create the SLA and the work order starts, probably let's say it is down, the work order starts on 6 o'clock on Monday, but because of the priority calculation, the work order finishes on the next day morning 9 o'clock. So from 6 o'clock in the evening until 9 o'clock, the maximum will record the downtime as like 14 hours, okay, for that asset, which is not true, because the asset is only supposed to be kind of operational until 6 o'clock and need to be up at 9 o'clock. So technically there was no downtime. The asset was fixed in between, right? And it is up and running from 9 to 6. Okay? Am I confusing you or you're getting me? Hello?
I think I'm getting you at least.
Yes, me too.
You think you're getting me? Okay. So let me say this again. if we don't create a shift on asset, and especially if we are responsible to report on downtime, and if you have the mean time between failure and mean time to repair KPIs for assets, then only you should use this functionality. Otherwise, you can. This is a non-mandatory. You can leave it blank, and you don't need to create the asset shift. But if we are supposed to, then it's important to use this functionality, because in general scenario, let me give you a very simple scenario. We have a contract to maintain all the assets on site or deliver services, let's say, the deliver services on site from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, okay? 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay? Now we have a priority which actually sets the SLA. Now the priority 2, which is urgent, is 4 hours for this site, okay? And there is an equipment fail. There is a reactive maintenance request comes in at 5 p.m. on Monday, okay? And this is priority 2. So the SLA says the equipment should be fixed, completed, or the work order should be completed by next day, 12 p.m. 1 hour from 5 to 6 p.m. on Monday, and then Tuesday from 9 to 12 p.m. 3 hours. So by 12 p.m., the maximum will say that work should be completed by 12 p.m. next day on Tuesday. Okay, so now the technician doesn't do the work on Monday itself, because SLA allows him to work on the Tuesday morning also. He goes to the equipment and he fixes the equipment at 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so in the Maximo report, the down asset is down from 5 p.m. until 10 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so technically, even the asset was switched off at 6 o'clock in the p.m. and it's always switched on, or supposed to be switched on in the morning at 9 a.m. Okay, so technically the downtime was only 1 hour and 2 hours in the morning, 3 hours. But because we didn't create a shift on that asset down in technically in Maximo, it will be calculated like from 5 p.m. to 15 hours. Okay, so that's the difference. You get my point? Nathan?
I think so. I think I did.
Maybe we need to talk in Portuguese with the team to guarantee that they are understanding exactly this point. Just a minute, please, Manish. Pessoal, vocês entenderam essa parte no cronograma do maintenance shift? O que exatamente, como isso funciona?
Então, mano, ele falou pra gente tem que colocar os dias, né? Aí as horas início e fim, certo? Eu só não entendi essa última parte que ele tava falando das horas, né? Ele tava falando que
o que eu entendi é que ele falou que o SLA ele conta de acordo com o shift, certo? É isso que ele estava explicando.
Exatamente.
Então ele não vai penalizar ninguém por de repente ser fim de semana se o shift dele diz que não tem.
E isso é uma coisa que eu estou fazendo um pouco pro Command Center, pessoal, que é o seguinte, eu tô tendo que fazer esse meio que na unha, esse calendar shift, porque imagina o seguinte, eu vou dar exemplo da P&G lá, por exemplo, só pode fazer manutenção depois das 4 da tarde. Como é que a gente sabe exatamente que horas que eu posso fazer manutenção do lugar para poder fazer planejamento? É pelo calendar shift. Por isso que é importante, além de não contar no SLA, isso vai dar uma base para o planejador de qual que é o horário do calendário de operação do equipamento. E o terceiro ponto que a gente consegue, com isso no futuro, começar a fazer cálculos, por exemplo, de MTBF, MTTR, cálculos de disponibilidade. A gente sabe exatamente qual é a carga de operação do equipamento. Tá?
Ô, Evandro.
Pode falar.
Então, mas aí no caso, por isso que ele colocou ali embaixo ali um shift só de ativo. Que aí é diferente, que o ativo só está disponível das 9 às 18.
Isso.
É isso?
Na verdade ele está colocando o calendar shift, que é o turno de trabalho.
Então lá em cima ele colocou lá, né, das 7 às 19. O que eu entendo disso daí? Que o calendário, assim, o dia de trabalho é das 7 às 19, porém
É isso
o
aí.
dia, o tempo disponível do ativo é das 9 às 18.
Exato.
É
E
isso,
depois
sabe?
dali você teria seu calendário de manutenção. Por exemplo, seu calendário poderia ser das 18 às 22, por exemplo. Ou das 18 às 8 da manhã do outro dia. Isso serve para isso. E esse tempo que ele colocou é o tempo de operação do equipamento. Então, por exemplo, sei lá, o SLA não vai ficar contando das 18 às 8 da manhã do outro dia. Porque ele não é verdade, ele não operou. Então você não é punido naquilo que ele não está operando. Entendeu a ideia?
Entendi. Não, entendi que daí entre as 9 e as 18 você não conseguiria atuar no equipamento porque ele está em funcionamento.
Exato. Isso vai servir como base para o planejador se planejar e também serve para poder a aplicação da SLA ser uma coisa mais tranquila. Alguém tem mais alguma dúvida?
Tá.
Ficou claro
Ô,
isso daí?
Evandro, no caso ele
É.
colocou só Monday, né? Mas aí tem que colocar diariamente? Todos os dias, é necessário?
O calendário, quando você cria o calendário e cria o turno. Tá? Quando você cria o calendário e cria o turno, o máximo ele vai fazer uma escala, ele chama de work period. Então ele vai pegar e vai criar para você, quando você fala assim, ó, de segunda a sexta, das 8 às 17, o próprio máximo vai lá e cria um calendário para ele dizendo assim, olha, na segunda, das 8 às 17, na terça, das 8 às 17, na quarta, das 8 às 17. O próprio máximo cria isso. E coloca isso numa tabela chamada work period, que é onde ele se baseia para poder fazer o CSLA também.
Tá
Então,
bom.
basta fazer uma vez só, entendeu? O ponto que a gente só tem que ver é o dia que começa o calendário. Se é na segunda, se é no domingo, só para ficar certinho, tá? O Bartolo tá no call?
O Bartolo falou que ia atrasar um pouquinho, mas já tá há bastante tempo.
Tá resolvendo algumas
É.
coisas com o Varríquio. Tá.
Ah, então, mas esse tipo de coisa não é para acontecer, cara. Eu falei ainda para ele isso, que não era para ele perder tanto tempo com o Barrico assim, era para ele tá participando dessa reunião, cara.
Eu tô,
Depois,
independente disso, eu tô gravando, tá? Eu gravei a
tá,
primeira, já coloquei lá no SharePoint, e aí eu tô gravando essa aqui também pra estar colocando.
tá bom, tudo bem. Manish, we think we
Right? Yep.
are okay. We check the knowledge of the guys, and maybe I think it's to be okay. And they are
Okay.
understanding exactly the points about the calendars, and also we can help the planner with the calendar and shift in the assets to determine exactly the time that I had available for planning maintenance. Nowadays, it's not so clear. For example, imagine you have an office. I have an HVC asset, and unfortunately, I can do the maintenance just after the 4 p.m. When I have the calendar, I can see this information in asset module. It's possible to planner improving the planner workflows beyond the just SLE. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we have to touch upon that separately, probably towards the end of this call. But that needs to be done a bit differently. At this moment, it's only for the downtime. What I have just told you, the shift. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's touch upon it. I'm a little bit conscious. Let's come back to the shift, maintenance shift. Later today in the call or on the next call, but let's continue. I'm conscious because Mark is with us, and we need to. He's just waiting there, and he was supposed to be in a training, and he kind of excused himself from the training to give us the to be in this session. So we'll touch upon the maintenance shift again later, but let's move on to the labor now. Okay, if that's all right, Evandro? Yeah? Hello?
Yeah, it's fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, fine. Okay, so labor. So the labor is basically the technicians or the labor, whosoever does the work. In fact, if the site manager is also doing anything in Maximo, if he's doing anything technically, let's say he's doing the audit or he's doing the financial closure, etc., he needs to be marked as a labor. Okay, so he needs to be in the people record, in the people sheet, and then you should be create him as a labor. Admin resource also supposed to be labor. So I have only myself, and I select myself is in the drop down, and everything else gets populated. The only thing I need to select is my crew, craft, and skill. So what is, first of all, the shift, yeah. So what is my shift? There may be multiple shifts, and I select my shift here. And then the craft, what is my craft? Am I technician, am I electrician? Am I from mechanical or from, anything? And now you would see that this is in Portuguese because this crew, craft, and skills are specific to each country. So when you're filling up a template for Brazil, when you select the Brazil organization in org sheet, it only brings those are applicable to your country. Okay. So for example, I say automotivo. I don't know what it means, but then accordingly, in the skills, the list will be populated. Those are applicable to that crew and craft. So I don't know what it means, but I select the first one, and that completes my record. Okay. Now go back into the routes, but before I go into the routes, I would like Mark to take us to because from this stage, then from 7, 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, these are the sheets. Those are basically related to preventative maintenance. So building a route, building a PM plan on the routes and assets, building the job plans and also the job plan tasks, and then doing the sequencing of the PM on the basis of job plans. They all are, part of the PM preventative maintenance planning. Yeah, and all the data important for the routes, job plan header, not job task, but for the job plan header, PM and PM sequence would come from the PM planner. Okay. So, Mark.
Yes, I'm here.
Pattern to you now.
Yes, I will share my screen.
Okay, giving it to you.
Let me know if you can see my screen.
Give us a second.
Here we go. We can see it.
Okay. I have in the version which we had, you had to do a lot of copying and pasting, and it was really complex. And when the one who was performing that job with us left our company, we had a challenge how to do this. And since I have a background in IT, I took the liberty to automate the PM Planner tool. And I will guide you through how it works. The first step is we have to get the asset data from the Goldmaster. So if I click here, I get a menu to select a file. And here, let me see, demo, PM Planner. And here, open. And you can see here that I have selected a file which I like to import. And you see here, selecting the file is step 1. And here he keeps track that one is processed. Then I have to import that from the Goldmaster. And instead of copying and pasting, I'm opening in this Excel the Goldmaster sheet and I'm reading the data in. So we will see some screens flashing. And then we have to wait, not that long, but it takes always long to open a Goldmaster because it's rather a rather large file. Okay, he is busy. He will he will end with a message that he is ready to move on. Yes, okay. So now I've processed step 2, and he now asks me to define the routes. And in the Goldmaster, in the
Mark.
old Goldmaster, yes?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Mark, but
Yes, no problem.
A little bit slower. Thank you.
Okay. And the route is a grouping of assets of the same asset type, which you can then perform with one work order, naming all the assets which are on that work order. And for that reason, we have to group them and give here a route number. Doing that by putting numbers here is a laborious task. So what I've built is if I select these ones and I click on my right-hand button, and you see here in the menu, make route for selected range. And then you will see he will put the ones for the first route here. Well, then say we have the 2 doors we also put together, and you see I have now made an error because I have taken a asset type which is the door 05 and the door 18, and if I say okay, make a route, he will come with an error message. You have selected more asset types. Please make a selection of one asset type. So I'm selecting this one. Okay, and now we have to put this one, and perform the same trick. And the glazed doors up. So okay, here we have a lot of fire doors, as you see. And I say make a route. Then I get a pop-up because there is a good practice that, or a guideline that there are approximately 35 assets in one route. And here I can say, okay, put all 77 just still in one route. And I can say, okay, make there 2 routes. But if you see here, we will have 2 routes of 35 assets and 1 route of 7. So by moving this around, of equal size, 2 of 26 and 1 of 25. And if I say divide, he will, as you see, make here 3 routes and do the numbering accordingly. Well, these okay, we will put that also in a route. Oh, I cannot do that because, okay, oh, the pumps, the split units, the computer rooms, expansion, I have to pick them all 3. Convector. So in this way, because in the old version you had a lot of work to do to keep this right, and the people who have done a lot of work with the old version were really glad that all the numbering is now automated. So hopefully I am nearly at the end. Look, yeah, yes, okay. Job 1. And it's of course the experience of the maintenance engineer if you can put something in a route or not. And since I'm just a simple IT guy, I do not bother about the logic of the maintenance engineer. I just made it easier to work with. Okay. It's okay. We are nearly done. Oh no, we are nearly done. And okay. Now I've put all the routes in, and now I will go back to my control panel, and I can now run step 3. And in step 3, we will define the PMs without routes, and also the route items, and the routes will be generated. So again, you will see a lot of flashing of screens. Okay, here's ready. And now I can, in this sheet, define for these assets my PM plan. So if nothing is selected, the frequency type, this is in this version a funny one. You have to other frequencies than the standard monthly, or you have to choose between statutory and mandatory, which are in fact work order types. I'm now working on a version which allows you that more that you can also have weekly mandatory tasks. This at this moment not possible. So if I say I choose a job frequency of 2, and then I say I can here select the next due date. If I click here on, he will put the date of today in, and if I press another one, he will go to the first of the month, and I can move 1 month ahead, 1 year ahead, and so on. The counter and the sequence are set to 0, and I can, and this is in this version not yet automated. In my next version, you can also change your counter and sequence. The counter sequence and the due date will be calculated, but that's for future. Well, for reasons. So let me see. Yes, okay. This is do I have to speed up? I copy this. Oh, and well, let's say that we have here a 12 monthly, and also okay, just do here the copying, because otherwise you are endlessly watching me type. And here we say we don't only have a 2 monthly, but we have here also another one. So I can here say I add a row. And then he asked me here if the job size is still mandatory. And I say, okay, this will be a 12 monthly. And well, let's say it will also start, which is not logical, okay, on the 1st of April, 1 and 0. And you will also see that in the that here he is set as an annual, and you will see it coming back here. So now I have, and I can here still change the name of the label in other names, but well, let's call this a major service. Okay. Well, now I'm done with defining the PMs, and now I will go back again to my control panel, and I have to take the next step. And in the next step, he will generate the same stuff, but then for the routes. Okay. Yes, here's ready, and you see. Why has he? Why is that? Let me see. Because no, we have a step between it. Sorry. Okay. Now he was sorry. I was one too early. He now has generated for the job plan headers. He has defined the PMs. And he has defined the sequences. So for the planned maintenance of the assets which are not in a route, he has defined the stuff which he can load into the Goldmaster. Now we have to do the same trick for the routes. So I will go back to my control panel, and I say I run the step 5, and now he starts building the PM, the routes, which you can then copy and paste to the Goldmaster. And here I have to do the same trick as I did before, but then I have to do it for the routes. So defining, okay. Okay, and well, now you see here NB, and that's because this will be a small task, and in this current version it is not supported that a small task can be a 12 monthly job. So if I do this and I say check row, he will also state that there is something wrong. So the process won't go any further until I have solved all the problems. So if I say this is a 2, well, this is a 02, sorry, and this is a weekly. Weekly, okay. Then you will see it's okay. This is also the case for this one and for this one. And we have still one left that is okay. And okay, I forgot here some. Now I see still an error on. I will pull this on 12. It's also okay. It's weekly. That must be no value. Okay. Why do I have here an error? Let me see. This is a small one. Weekly. Yes. Yes. Okay, and this is the last one. Statutory, yes, I know. This is 12. Okay, you see now I've put in one statutory. He doesn't give any errors. So I go now to the last step. And that is generating the PM work orders, the job plan headers, and the sequence for the routes. This is step. Okay, he has done it. And if you see here in sheet 5, you see the routes which you can copy to the Goldmaster. In sheet 6, you see here, sheet 9. You see here the PM numbers, and you see he has this PM number starts with 1019, and you see the last PM number in the job plans. Let me see, that is, I think this one. Ends with 2018. So he also takes care of having that the numbering is doing it correctly. Then here again the job plan headers he has generated. Here we have the PMs, and here you have again the sequences which are part of to be imported into copied into Maximo. This is basically what this version do, and at this moment I had as feedback that it saved a lot of time. People who work with the old version say that it differs about 80 to 90% of the time in defining the DPM plans. That's basically what this version is doing. At this moment, I'm working on a broader project. It is, I've called it now a workbench, which supports you defining the locations. So that instead of, so you just fill in the flat locations and he will build up the parent-child relations which are in the Goldmaster. He can support you with putting data in for the assets, and he also takes care of again the plant maintenance, including the calculation of the right count and next due date, and also the right sequence. Well, this is in a very brief overview what the current version is doing, and for the next version, I'm hoping that we can start testing with Manish and some other people from our global community on the next version. And at last, I'm also building now a import function into the Goldmaster, so that you don't have to do any more the copying and pasting, but you can just load the data into the Goldmaster by as you have seen here, selecting a file and just load it into the Goldmaster instead of copying and pasting, which is very vulnerable to errors. Do you have any comments, any questions, any remarks? Please go ahead. Is there anyone there? Is there anybody there? Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Mark?
Yes? Yes?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Mark, did you mention that when you bring the data, the asset data from Goldmaster to the PM Planner, you also bring the prefixes?
Yes, I also load the prefixes which are defined in the Goldmaster, and there is one flaw in it because it do not take the we have to take the proper starting number. That's an error because usually you start at 1001, but if you want to do it in a later stage, then you have to trick something, and we have to fix that error that he will pick the proper number which is in the Goldmaster, but it's a minor fix.
Yeah, but yeah, that is, I think, all right. Not there are very rare cases where they change the sequence number. Mostly it is 1000. It goes sequential. But the important is that the PM Planner picks the prefixes you have defined in the auto number sheet. And if, let's say, you have a different prefix for the PM and a different prefix for route and different prefix for asset, it will respect and it will take those prefixes and build the PM number starting with that code you have defined in the Goldmaster and the route code defining the prefixes you have defined in the Goldmaster.
Yes, I just take the prefixes which are defined in the Goldmaster.
Yep.
I forgot to tell.
Right. No, it's all right. It's okay, Mark. Any question to Mark? No? Evandro, you happy?
No.
No, you are not happy. Did you say that?
Evandro? I think we're good.
All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, right. If any question, I can try to answer. I think I know it, and I can answer it. I just wanted Mark to explain it. He's an expert, and he knows a bit better than me. But I am able to answer any question related to PM Planner. So if anything comes out, you can ask me. If I'm not sure, I can always ask Mark. Mark is not too far from me. It's just 7,000 miles from me. Right, Mark?
Yes, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And
You're welcome.
I will let you go. I know you have other obligations.
Yes, I'm going back to the training of EasyMax.
Oh,
Great. Thank you very much, Mark, once again.
Okay.
Appreciate your time and efforts.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye. Okay, bye.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay, now back to the templates. Now that was a quick one. Mark was fast.
Yeah.
Would you like to check with the team? Have they followed it? Because to be honest, I was struggling at some point. He was very, very fast. Yeah. Right. So you want to check with team, Nitin? Is everything all right?
Vocês
Tá
entenderam
falando?
tudo certinho, gente? Seguiram? Essa parte é importante, principalmente para vocês dois, Rafa e...
Então, a princípio deu para entender ali essa demonstração, a última do Mark, onde a gente clica, né, e aí ele acessa a outra aba. Essa planilha eu não tinha visto ainda, mas ela é nova ou você já utilizava ela?
Ela já está em utilização.
Já tá, então tá. Porque essa eu não lembro de ter visto muito bem, mas deu para entender o que
O Rafa deve ter preenchido ela para quando... porque o Rafa já preencheu ela para Merck, eu acho. Mas essa é a planilha nova que monta as preventivas.
Tá.
Ela é recente, ela não é nova de agora, mas ela é recente.
Tá ok.
A respeito da PM Planner, né, assim, ó, eu não tenho dúvida, né? Tá?
Aham.
Agora, depois eu te mostro, tá, Roger, como que é.
Tá bom, Rafa, tá ok. Assim, deu para entender o que ele explicou, né, ali da rota, tudo, deu para entender. Mas assim, pode ser que quando eu estiver realmente preenchendo uma nova, tenha alguma dúvida em algum campo ali.
Tá bom. Aí eu te mostro
bom?
depois.
Tá ok, Rafa, obrigado.
Yeah. So, was it all right? Nitin?
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Right. Evandro dropped off, or what? I don't see him in the call anymore.
Did he? Oh, he might have. He didn't send me any messages about it.
I don't know.
I
hope
we'll follow
Except
without
not playing with
him.
him. Shall we go ahead, or do you?
What?
Nathan?
What did you ask?
It looks like he's dropped. He's not in the call.
Yeah. But
So should we go ahead, or you want to check on him? Yeah, you can hear me.
yeah, I can hear you just fine. Let me send him a message.
Okay.
My dude.
Should I start talking or wait for him?
Keep going. Keep going.
Right. Okay. After that crash course on the PM Planner, we are back to Gold Master. So I think now you have some idea. I'm sure you already have some idea of how to build PM data. And that new PM Planner, which I hope you are working with, you are using the new PM Planner already. With that PM Planner, you would be able to build the route data. Now, what is route? Of course, we all know what is the route. Route is just a way of putting together the equipment. Those are mainly not mainly, those has to be of the same type and probably around the same location, so that the technician can maintain them when the preventative maintenance plan is created on those assets within the single work order. So what happens is, if you put together all the equipments, those are of same type.
Oh,
Also in the similar
Evandro
location.
had to drop out for another call.
Oh, okay, okay, that's fine. Right. Yeah. So I was talking about a little bit principle of the routes. Give me a second. Right. Yeah. So if you have those equipment and you think that technician would perform the preventative maintenance on them in one time, so he will start, let's say, there are fire extinguishers on one floor, and on the monthly check or on the monthly maintenance, the technician who's responsible for fire and safety will go around that floor and he will check on all the fire extinguishers in one go. Then what you do is, rather than getting single work order for each fire extinguisher, you will put them into a route, and maximum will generate one work order, which will actually cover all those, let's say, 35 fire extinguisher on the same floor. But having said that, you don't want to create a work order on hundreds of assets, okay? Because keep in mind that this work order would open for until those all 30, 50 or 70 equipment, those are in that route, are completely maintained, within that. So for example, if you have a 3-monthly job plan and you have the split air cons, so you would not, and I would not suggest to include, and if you have a big floor where you have 50 split air cons, okay, so you would not create one route for all 50 split air cons, because maintaining 3-monthly maintenance on one split air con probably would take 30 minutes to 1 hour. So if you put together all 50 into one work order, that work order will open at the start of maintaining the first split air con until the last or the 50th, and that duration will be very long, okay, and that will be very difficult to track which equipment being maintained at what time. So it is mainly for the low critical equipment, and for those job plans are basically very not very substantial, very medium size or small size. Okay, I have seen from the Brazil data that you guys have created a route on 60, 70, 80 assets also. Again, I let it go because I don't want to stop it, but practically and technically it's highly, sometimes it's feasible, but most of the time it's not feasible to carry out maintenance for 70, 80 equipments and having a one work order open against them. So a guidance is that you create maximum on 35 assets. A route should be only on 35 assets, not more than that. Okay? Any questions? Brilliant. So when you copy paste the route data, which is, yep. Somebody wants to say something? Or somebody just moved the chair.
Yeah, I think that was just a
I
microphone.
assume it was chair. Okay. Right. So when you move data from PM Planner, route data from PM Planner to this sheet, probably it will fit into each column as it says. So the column D would have the route number. And generally the route number starts, not generally, it should be, I'm sorry, I keep using this word generally, I don't know why. Sometime. Right. So it should use the starting number or the prefix which you have defined in the auto number setup. Make sure, just to ensure. Okay. And then of course the starting number also from the auto number. So it's a combination of the first auto number will be MSD BRST-1000. Sequence is 1. It is a numbering. So if you have 20 assets in one route, it will start. The first asset will be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as it says. It's a repetition of column column E. These two values are always same. Okay. Route description. So the route description is basically what this route is about. Okay. This route is about maintaining fire extinguisher. Generally, it's on the equipment type. Again, it is auto-derived from the PM planner. You don't need to worry about it. Asset number comes from the PM planner. Description comes from the PM planner. Asset type and asset type description and the location. Now, you see these 5 columns. If you are creating a route on assets, then you only provide information on column HIJK. But if you are creating a route for some reason on location, then you don't give any value on HIJK and give only value in L. So in other words, you are giving us the value either in column L or in HIJK. But in any case, you are not giving us value on all these 5 columns. It's either 4 or 1. Okay? Am I right? Are we following? Hello, good morning.
Yeah,
Roger.
Hello.
It's okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So that's route. If no question, then I will quickly talk about PM, the job plan header. Okay. Now, again, the job plan header data will be built in the PM planner. What it goes is that in the column B is the job plan core number, which is basically the combination of asset type code, job plan hyphen, job plan size, which is mostly M, and then separated by hyphen, and the last is the frequency of the job plan. So if it is a 3-monthly HVAC 08, which is split AC, I keep using the same example, then the code will be HVAC 08, HVAC 08, hyphen M, hyphen 03 is a 3-monthly. If it is 6-monthly, then HVAC 08, hyphen M, hyphen 06. Yearly, then replace the last digit by 12. Okay, so something like that. There are other way of coding. If it is weekly, if it is daily, and if it is statutory, etc. That you can follow from the Maximo guide, anyways. So that's a standard way of coding them. On the column C, you have the job plan description and the language translation in column D. One thing I would like to highlight here is that you guys can choose, and not now, but it is Ivandro and Nathan, and you guys can discuss, and Bartolo has a good knowledge about it. You guys can sit down and think of creating a job plan library for Brazil. So if you create a job plan library for Brazil, then that library will be created against the organization, against the CEBR organization. And that will be kind of a standard library. So for an example, if you think in Brazil, you always use or you always maintain, again giving the same example, a split air con following the same job task, right, and each site. And what you can do is that you can create libraries at the organization level. All the sites, and going forward, you don't need to create job plans in the goal master at the site level, and you can directly define them against the PM in the PM sequence. Okay? So you can save yourself creating this sheet, this sheet, this sheet, and you can just directly, if you have already defined the created library at the global level, you just need to align or kind of assign them directly against the PMs. Okay? We can discuss it separately, but there is a functionality like UK is using it, Norm is planning to use it, Asia already using it, etc., etc. Okay. All right. So and then from here, there's duration of job plan. It's important. So you can set that, okay, this job plan is standard duration to complete by a single manpower or by the skills. We give in the column J, right? So I'm sorry. So this skill, just an again example, audiovisual skill will take this job plan to be completed. A standard completion time of it maybe the 30 minutes. You can say, okay, it is a 30 minute, and then at some point in time you can do analysis that whether or not these jobs are getting completed in 30 minutes or they're taking longer. Okay. Sometimes we have a costing, and as per the costing, we say the costing says that okay, we have timed the preventative maintenance delivery in 20 hours. We have planned in such a way, and we have costed a contract in this way. But once you have this information in system, those agreed with client, and then you can do the analysis of how long it's basically taking, and then you can adjust it. Okay. Yeah. But for the data collection, this is the duration of the job plan. Okay. Right. So, any question? All right. No question.
Okay.
Job plan labor. Once you have, let me create a job plan here because then only I can talk a bit about. It's like okay, just on this, and I should say yeah. If I go to the plan labor, I can see that job plan here, and I can say that what is the skill applicable for those job plans, so that it allows me to plan. So when I have that assignment manager, it would only pull the labor those having this skill, and it makes my life a little bit easier to plan the PM, because this one goes against the PM, and when I do the assignment manager, the work order those are generated against that PM would be having this skill, and in the assignment manager it will be having a match that okay, I have 10 labor but only 3 labor have this skill, so I can do the assignment appropriately. Okay. But if you're not very sure, you can leave it blank. Okay. Make sense?
Okay. Okay.
Fantastic. Right. Next sheet is the job task. Right. The job task sheet is the same again. Right. I think it's gone a little bit too slow, too small. What we do here is we provide the list of tasks against the job plan. Okay. So there might, and that generally comes from the business. So from the SME, technical SME, they might say, okay, this job plan have 10 tasks against it. So we just get the job plan here, and just giving another example here. Okay. And then job task number we suggest the sequence number to be multiple of 10, starting with the 10, and we say 20, 30, 40, etc., rather than saying 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Hi, Manish.
And the reason behind, yes?
Rafael is asking if we can put 2 different crafts in the job plan.
Yes, you can do that.
Through the template?
You can have 2 skills against a job plan. Yep. If let's say you have 2 skills, you can always have 2 rows here.
Oh, so you pick the same one and then you pick a different craft.
Yeah. Why it is not allowing me? It's supposed to allow me.
No.
I'm sure it's supposed to allow me. No, yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should be. don't know why it's showing red, but in my mind, and in my knowledge, it should allow 2 skills. It doesn't allow 2 craft. It doesn't allow 2 craft. It has to be 1-to-1. You cannot have a job plan having 2 different crafts, but you can have 2 different skills. That I think is applicable, but it looks like it's. I might not be very right. I will check again and come back to you. Is that all right?
Okay. Because this is something that happens a lot here in Brazil. That we'll need like an electrician and a plumber, or something like that.
Okay. Let me check.
And this was a question that Evandro had posed to us, and we didn't know how to answer.
Okay.
Okay, then you checking it back to us.
Yeah, I'll check, and I'm just making a note in my diary so that I don't forget. Okay, done. I'll check and I'll come back to you. Okay. In my opinion, I think there was a possibility, but I'll check. Yeah. Right. Going back to the job task, and in the job task, you complete the actual task here. For example, PPE starts with the JCE, make safe. Generally, first few tasks are for related to HSC and making safe. Make the equipment. And if you have a local language translation, provide in column E, and you can leave blank what you see in the column F. This is important for data load, but we are not tracking the time capture against a task. We only capture it against the job plan which we have given in the job plan header sheet. Okay? Right, and if I'm not wrong, it used to be locked. They opened it up. Okay, never mind. Okay, PM, the next sheet. No question. Am I too good, or you know everything?
No, I think in this part everyone seems to be okay. Vocês entenderam tudo direitinho?
Right.
Uma dúvida era lá na outra aba que ele estava, na Job Tasks, tem o número do plano, né? E ele colocou assim, 10, 20, 30, só para saber se tem que obedecer essa sequência.
Tem que obedecer essa sequência para poder enfiar coisas no meio dele se precisar na hora de revisar, entendeu? Porque se você colocar 1, 2, 3 e precisar revisar, você não tem como inserir as tarefas entre elas. Você coloca 10, 20, 30 para você poder ter esse espaço, entendeu?
Ah, perfeito. Então tá bom. Entendi. Beleza, obrigado.
There was a question about the job tasks, and it's been solved.
Job task? What is the question on job task? Sorry?
Yeah, the question was the steps being like 10, 20, 30. And then he asked why this, and I said that it's to be able to fit revisions in between them if required, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Right. PM. PM is a simple data, but I get to see. If I can be very honest with you, not for Brazil, but most of the errors I see are either in the location. So I can say 60 to 70%. Those are now you might now you know right already that location data is not that complicated. It's relatively very simple than asset data. But for some reason, there's a lot of errors I get in the location data, approximately 60% of the total errors, if I can say. All of the 23 sheets we have altogether. Out of 23 sheets, one sheet in the location itself, we have it takes 60% of errors. And I can say next 20 to 30% errors are in the PM sheet, in this sheet itself. Okay. So these are the two most error sheet or error prone sheet, if I can say. Yeah. All right. To talk about it, PM number. Of course, the PM code comes from the auto number sheet, and the starting number also comes from there to make sure. The data basically comes from the PM planner, but you just need to make sure. Okay, the PM description is auto-built in the PM planner, but there is a structure you can learn from the Maximo guide. Language translation of the description, if you have any, for your country or for this site specifically. Now, the PM can be created either on location or on asset or on route, but it cannot be created on all three at the same time. Okay? If the PM is created on a location twice, that column, you will see that it is already highlighted in a light red color. So if I can say the location is XYZ, and then if I say XYZ again here, then you can see that they are highlighted in pink. So it tells that it's kind of indicator. It says that why you have created 2 PMs on the same location. There might be 2 different job frequency, the frequency or probably the job plan, etc. But it is a way of kind of highlighting if there is a duplicacy in the data. Okay, right. The next column is which needs to be filled is what type of PM is it? Okay, now I would emphasize in this column up for a minute. I see that you give me the data, Brazil, most of the time for PM only. And you don't give me any data for PM statutory and PM mandatory. And I always wonder that, and I should stop the data and I should ask you, but I know that we are always rushing to meet the go live date. So we are kind of under pressure always, so can't keep rejecting. But why don't we have the PM statutory for this site? You have assets related to fire and safety. You have exit doors. You have sometimes chillers. You have lifts. And all these equipments, some of the equipment falls under the statutory compliance guidelines for the state of the country. So there has to be, most of the time, if the site is mid-size, there are equipments, those are compliant to maintained legally. Okay, but I don't see that. So all those PMs, those are statutory, you should mark them as a statutory PM so that we can report. At some point in time, if we are asked that, okay, what are statutory PMs you have by client or by government, we should be able to pull them out from the system. That's our primary system, recording, managing, and recording and managing the maintenance work on site. Okay. PM mandatory are the PMs. Those are made mandatory by the contract, by the client. So client says, okay, this is mandatory for me, and you have to run them. You mark them so that in the event client wants a separate report on the mandatory PMs, you can pull that report out from Maximo and give it to them. If it is not marked, then it is difficult to segregate. Okay, so PM mandatory, I'm not too worried. It depends on the contract and it depends on the SME how it build it. But when I don't see PM stat, then it makes me a little worried. Okay, I think you can ask the questions to those giving data to you as well. Make sense? Or too much about it?
No, it makes sense. It's just we don't normally use we haven't been using PM man and PM statutory, but we should be using statutory for a couple of asset types because it is actually law here in Brazil. So this is something we've been meaning to change along with Evandro.
Yes. So we are the data collectors. We get the data from different sources. So it's not Victor or Roger or Rafael building the data. They get data information from someone. So we should ask question. When we get the data, we should ask question, where are the statutory data? What are the equipment? Those are compliance, compliance equipments. What is the statutory requirement for the site? Some basic information. And then from there, we know, okay, so they have this group of assets, those need to be maintained in this way. and we can at least protect ourselves. Let's say that. Yeah. Okay. The next one is the due date. No issues for Brazil, but the due date has to be after Maximo go live. And our recommendation and guideline says that, and also you can suggest this to the site, that plan your maintenance, start in Maximo after a month, after a month from the go live. Okay. So if, let's say, they can start maintaining and they can do the PM planning out of Maximo from the day one. But in Maximo system, you start managing the PMs. Let's say if the site is going live on 1st of February, you put the starting date from 1st of March. And why do we say that? There's a reason behind it. Because we deliver training. After the site goes live, there are cases where if it's a new contract, they are still hiring people and they miss. They have to do the RMs, which they somehow do it, but they miss the PM generation and sometimes they miss the delivery of PM. And that jeopardizes the next due date for the March. If you don't fix, so let's say, I'm just giving an example here. So let's say if you have PM due date falling on 1st of February, some of them, 10th of February, some of them, and 20th of February on some of them, okay? First scenario. And if you execute the PMs, they will fall on the first, 15th and 20th as you have planned if you do it on time. But if you miss to generate the PM before their due date, then the next due date in system is always the next day. Okay? So let's say if you miss to generate all of them until 10th and 20th, and if you generate on 21st, their next due date will be on 22nd. And that actually jeopardizes all of their planning for the next month, because for the next month, their due date will be 22nd of March. Okay? So in the whole of March, no PM will be generated until 22nd of March. And after 22nd of March, there are hundreds of PM outstanding. You get my point. Okay? Am I talking sense? Nathan?
Yes,
Nathan,
senhor. Diga.
você pode só explicar rapidinho essa parte do sábado e domingo, por favor? Eu não entendi muito bem.
Qual parte do sábado e domingo?
Sim, onde está um ali.
Ah, então, ele pergunta se é para contar o período dela, se é para contar o período dessa preventiva em sábados e domingos.
Tá, naquele mês, tá.
Sim.
Tá ok, tá ok.
So, Manish, they're asking if you could just explain the Saturday and Sunday thing again, real quick.
What Saturday, Sunday thing? What does it mean?
The last two columns over there, T and U. What do they mean if they're marked as one or not?
Right. Let me go to that column first. But so far, I'm still on the next due date.
Okay.
Yeah, you follow the next due date first or not?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. PM counter. Is everybody familiar with the PM counter and PM sequence? What it is or not?
Todo mundo aqui entende o PM counter e PM sequence? E frequency, desculpa. I think they're all there.
Yes.
Se vocês têm dúvida, agora é a hora de perguntar.
Do I need to explain this, or are we all aware of what it is?
Vocês querem que ele explique isso ou tá todo mundo entendido disso daí?
Eu sei.
I think it might be good to explain for Roger, who's like a new hire for the company.
Okay.
Everyone else has
Right.
seen that in some capacity.
That's very, very good to know. And let me open up a file, which is basically a working file. It's just my way of talking about sequence and counters. Okay. And you can see my screen now. Okay. So what we are saying here is, don't worry about from here to here. Only look at this data. So just an example, we have a PM, which is monthly, okay, every month, okay, and then it has a job plan on 1st, 3rd, and 12th. So basically, this PM needs to generate a work order on monthly basis, on quarterly basis, and on yearly basis. But when it generates the quarterly PM, it doesn't need to generate the monthly PM. Okay, when it generates the yearly PM, yearly work order, then it should not generate the monthly and the quarterly work order. And also, when it is generating the monthly work order, then it should use this job plan. Okay, so there are tasks, maybe 10 tasks. But when it is generating the quarterly work order, then it should generate the work order using this job plan, which might be having 15 tasks. Okay, but when it is generating the yearly PM, then it should use the yearly job plan, which might be having 20 tasks. Okay, right? So it is superseding the lower frequency, if I can say in other words. So we have the PM, we know the frequency, we have the job plan. But in Maximo, we have the one-to-one relationship. We can say that, okay, this PM having 3 job plans. Okay, so in here in Maximo, we have the PM. We create a PM here. Okay, it's a PM master, and in the PM sequence we say, okay, so we have the PM. I'm just saying here 1001, and then we have the job plan number. Okay, so I have to do something here so that this red goes away. Give me a second. Okay, and the PM sequence, you say it is monthly, it is 3 monthly, or it's not it's not a frequency, it's a sequence. So I say 1, 3, and 12, and in over here I can say HVAC 08 M01. But you see here that I never say that which in the next due date, when the due date comes in the PM, what job plan it should pick. Okay, are you following me?
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So it is the initial counter, okay, which is here. The counter here. Right? The counter here determines what job plan this PM will pick when it is generating the work order on this due date. Okay? So if you say 1st of March 2020 is the next due date for this PM. Okay? But the business says, okay, we have already started PM manually at this side. So on the 1st of March, the quarterly PM should generate. If you give counter 0 here, then it will generate a monthly PM. Well, it will generate a work order using the monthly PM, monthly job plan, I'm sorry. Yeah?
Okay.
So what you have to do is, you have to give counter in such a way so that it can pick the 3 monthly job plan to generate the work order. And the formula is here. Okay? So just giving an example, okay, and now something falling like February, right? So we say that our PM generation on the February, and now is another example, right? On the February, we want monthly job plan to create the work order. Then we give the counter 0, and you see that in the monthly, there's a monthly here, 3 monthly here, 12 monthly here, and what it does is, it divides, in Maximo, it divides the sequence, which is this one, Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, sequence by the counter. So if the division of sequence divided by counter is the whole number, then it will pick that job plan to generate the work order. Second month, in the March, the counter is ticking, so the counter becomes 2, okay, over here. So now the counter is 2, okay, and it will do the same thing, 2 divided by 1, okay.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. 2 divided by 1, which gives 2. 2 divided by 3, which gives this number, and 2 divided by 12, which gives this number, okay. So the same thing, the 2 is the whole number, so it generates the work order for this job plan. In the next month, the counter is 3. Now the 3 is divided by 1, of course the 3. 3 is divided by 3, it is 1. Now in this case, it gets the 2 whole numbers. The Maximo is intelligent. What it does, it picks up the lower whole number to generate the work order. So it will generate the work order using this job plan. Okay. In May, the same thing. All are non-whole. This 4, 5 in quarter. In the 6 months, it gets 6 and 2. It generates the work order for 2. On the 12th month, which falls on the next year, January, you see the all are whole numbers, 12, 4, and 1. So it would pick the 12 monthly to generate the work order. Okay. Now, let's say in February, we want 3 monthly to generate. So what we need to do is, initially in the PM planner, in the PM sheet, we should give counter 2. Okay. When you do 2, you will see that automatically they all change, because the next month it will be 3. So when there is 3 next month, the maximum will pick the 3rd monthly to generate the work order. So just an example, let's say we have the yearly, okay. Now in this case, you can see that yearly is falling in November. Now we know that yearly should fall in April for some reason. So we have to work backwards to say, okay, so if yearly has to fall in April, that means that we need to be sitting on probably number 9 now. Okay.
Okay.
So that in April it will become 12. Yeah. And the yearly job plan. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You know it, right? I'm sorry, I think.
Ok. Ô, Rafa, rapidinho. Você já tinha entendido essa parte, né? Alô, Rafa?
Pode falar.
No caso, se eu tiver um histórico do equipamento, por exemplo, igual eu posso começar já no 9º, né? E aí esse PM Counter começa no próximo, né? Próxima preventiva, né? Que seria a 10ª, né?
Isso aí.
Isso mesmo.
Perfeito. Obrigado.
Make sense? Yeah. The frequency is just a frequency. Yeah. Okay. The frequency is basically a frequency of the PM. So if this PM is monthly, 3 monthly, yeah, annually. So you can give a frequency here. The number goes into column O, and if it is monthly, it goes into here month, week, days, etc., depending on it. Okay. Our priority, we don't change it. Okay. Right. On these 2 flags, the Saturday and Sunday. Okay. We don't need to change it. Okay. And I think I know why are they, but for some reason I think I need some clarity. Can I get back to you on these 2 columns on the next session?
Sure.
Yeah. These are recently added, and I got this email, but I somehow forgot to follow, or I might give you some wrong information, which I don't want. I'll give you next session. Okay. Right. Any question on the PM sheet other than these 2?
No.
No? What happened to my PM sheet? PM sequence. It was here, right? Oops. I don't know why it moved to between. Okay, give me a second. It is bringing it in here. So the PM sequence is, as you all are aware, just to give the PM numbers here. The job plan number. I'm sorry, I put it other way around. The job plan number should come here, and the sequence comes here. Okay. So the sequence, the job plan should be executed. Okay. Make sense? Any question?
No.
Again, this data mostly will come from the PM planner sheet. All right?
All right.
Okay. So that's pretty much about the Gold Master, right? I think we are going to finish our training today itself. Surprisingly, we finished the PM planner so fast. Okay. Now I think we can move to the supplementary. So let me open up global Maximo supplementary data template first, and then maybe on next session I can step through on the IFM supplementary data template.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the global Maximo supplementary data template, and of course, as usual, the format is same. There is a front sheet, there is a document history, and there is a summary MIF loading. In the summary MIF loading, it asks you to fill in some information. Provide that information specific to the site ID and the language, which is important. If you don't provide the site ID in the MIF loading, it will not do some few calculations in the subsequent sheet. So please provide that. Of course, remember that you have to always enable content and enable macro as well. Okay.
Okay.
It's not that fast. Give it a second. So. Properly. Right. Okay. So there's the MIF loading. As I said, that provide the organization ID and the site ID in this template here. So I would do that. Give me a second. So we say August CEBR. What's wrong? All right. And the site ID, what site ID did we use? MSTBRFT1. Okay. And the other details you can fill in. I'm not filling in now. And then the first sheet is the SLA calendar. And as I was saying that the difference between financial and SLA calendar is financial calendar is pretty much about from when we start billing and until what date. But SLA is about the obligation on our service level, delivery. So the financial calendar might start a little bit earlier, but not later than the SLA calendar. SLA calendar is also important because if you don't set it correctly, then the SLA calculation will not start in Maximo system. So just give you a scenario here. So let's say if your contract go live or the SLA go live of this site which is generally the maximum, is generally the go live of the site on 1st of February. And for some reason, you set the SLA calendar from 1st of March. And you have priorities, 5 priorities, 2 hours, 4 hours, 10 hours, etc. So because the SLA calendar is starting from March, all the work order generated in February will not having any response and resolution time, okay? Because there is no SLA. SLA calendar starts from March, so it is important to follow it, right? And the end date also need to be updated, so that if the end date is end of this year, but the contract is continued or the contract is renewed, and they keep using Maximo for the following year, the SLA will not be calculated correctly because SLA is already ended on the 31st of December. Okay, so these are the few things those need to be kept in mind. Okay, start date and date. So we can say 01/01/2020, and the end date is 31/12/2022. Okay.
Great.
Yep. You asked something? Huh?
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So let's say the start date of the first sheet. Why the sheet is not coming? Okay. Didn't I give the... No, I gave this right. Oh.
Ah,
Hmm? This system is very, very slow. So let's say the first shift is starting from Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is, let's say, for 5 days, starting at, we are obliged to provide services from 9 o'clock to 18 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that's the shift of it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can have another shift. Let's say you have specific that we are also supposed to provide services on Saturday. Then you can have another line item, say Saturday, 1 day, and that is probably, let's say, we are only supposed to provide service from 9 to 14 hours on Saturday, half day. Okay. So if it is the case, then you have to build 2 shifts, and you have to create priorities against both shifts. Okay, but I will talk about it in a bit. So we have shifts created in this sheet. The holidays. So if there are any holidays, and now we are not asking about the country holidays. We are asking about the holidays for those we have agreed with the client to not provide services. So if, let's say, we have holiday, the country holidays or the bank holidays for the country, but client wants us to provide services or keep the office up and running all every day, then we don't provide days here. But if we agree that on the bank holidays we will also not provide services, then we need to provide dates here, because when Maximo SLA calculation happens on the work order, they will discount these days. They will overrun these days or for the SLA calculation. Okay, so it is important to know. Okay, so if you have holidays, provide holidays. If you don't have holidays, just keep them. Most of the offices, we provide services because nowadays the corporate, they want the offices to be up 24/7 or at least for the working hours throughout the 7 days, because they have the workforce who can come anytime, can go anytime. So this is a kind of a culture, and we have a contract in such a way then we don't have any holidays basically. Yeah.
Okay.
So it depends on the SLA and the agreement.
Okay, 1 second. Nathan. Nathan? Rafael?
Diga.
Oi, por favor, rapidinho, só uma dúvida aqui. Nesse campo de holidays, como, por exemplo, se é no Rio de Janeiro, aqui tem que colocar os feriados nacionais, inclusive e os do Rio de Janeiro também, se for
O que
outra
ele
região?
falou não é para colocar todos os. God damn it, get out of the key. Ok.
Nathan, tá difícil, hein?
Então, subiu no teclado agora. Então, ele está falando que não é para você colocar todos os feriados, é para você colocar só os feriados que o cliente concordou em dar. Então, geralmente vai ser os nacionais, talvez alguns de cidade, porque tem feriado menor que a gente não para de trabalhar, né? Na operação.
Isso. Tá, então sempre de acordo com o cliente, né? Tá,
Sempre de acordo com o cliente.
tá
Então,
bom,
assim,
perfeito.
não interessa se tem 15 feriados se o cliente só deu 10.
Só deu 10, entendi.
Hoje, Nathan, hoje eu coloco apenas os nacionais, né? Eu não coloco o da.
Eu também, que são geralmente os que todo mundo dá, né?
Eu coloco só os nacionais.
Precisa tomar
Tá.
cuidado só, porque se tiver algum regional que realmente o cliente dá, aí precisa tomar cuidado de colocar, porque senão penaliza o SLA, né?
Sim. Tá bom. A gente vai tentar isso aí, então. Tá bom, obrigado, viu?
Tá bom? Alright, we're good.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
we're good to continue.
You okay? Hello, Nathan.
Hello? We're good to go.
Are you discussing?
We were, but now it's good.
Now okay?
Yeah.
So we can continue, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the holidays are what I just said. The partial holidays are a little bit differently set up, but it's again the same thing. If you have like the half days or the eves, etc., where we are not supposed to provide services for full days. So there are partial holidays, eve of Christmas or eve of something, etc., then you can provide the holiday name, the date particularly, and which shift is it applied to. Okay, so it will say the two shifts here. Okay, so if you have two shifts differently, then you can say, okay, it is applied to main shift falling on Monday, and what is the start time and what is the end time. So this is the time we are only providing service. Okay? Make sense? Yeah. Priority, and then of course in the priority, give it a second. My system is not as fast as I thought. So these are the 5 standard priorities as the guidance, and most of the sites are using the 5 priorities. Some are using 4, some are using 3. Okay. Now they don't get confused between the priority 4 here and the priority 4 you see in the PM sheet. The PM data priority 4 is just an indicator. There is no relationship between the duration you set in priority 4 here. Okay. So this priority 4 is independent to the PM priorities. These are very much reactive maintenance priorities. Okay. RM priorities. You can have more. You can change the description. You can change the description here, the long description here. It's up to you. Our advice is, if contract is all right, you use this 5 as it is. And if you are happy with the priorities, you go to the alignment of the priorities against the shifts. Okay. So in here you say, okay, so priority 1, which is emergency. Our response time is in minutes, and it is probably 15 minutes. We need to respond on emergency, and we probably need to finish within 60 minutes. Yeah. So the very simple rule is that try to keep the UOM, unit of measure, same for the same priority. Okay, yeah. Mix and match sometimes cause some errors. Okay, so 15 to 60 minutes rather than saying hour 1, I said minutes and 60, and I can say, all right. So here I have, this is applied to my first shift. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. The first shift. Now, because I have 2 shifts, and I will give a movement, I will do the same thing, same exercise for priority 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Sorry, 4, 5 for the SLA 1. Now, because I have 2 shifts, then I might say, okay, because I have 2 shifts, I would do the same exercise again. Come on. I'm sorry, my system has decided to go as slow as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, priority 1 here, and it is only on Saturday. Saturday is a relaxing day, and we say, okay, on that day, my emergency work needs to be responded. I'm just giving an example, weird example, in 60 minutes, and I would resolve it. Our agreement with the client is that we need to resolve it in 3 hours. Okay, just again a weird calculation. But what we need to do is we need to provide all 5 in the next rows here. So there are 5 priorities against the shift in the first rows, and we have to repeat the same for the second SLA shift. Okay?
Okay.
Even if it is same. It might be, let's say, this is just the timing difference, it might be the same, but we have to repeat that. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, when the work order, the service request generated, if there is only one SLA and one set of priority, the system will automatically select the shift, and it will give you a drop down to select the priority. But if you have 2 shifts, then what happens in the service request? It doesn't auto-populate the shift. It asks you to select the SLA shift. The help desk will select the SLA shift, and then help desk needs to select the priorities in the following column on the following box. Okay.
Okay.
Any question?
No, Manish.
No? Okay, fantastic. So next sheet is about the offering. It's basically what are our services we are providing at the site. And we have seen no problem in this sheet so far. So you just need to say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Okay, we are supposed to provide door external, yes, no. The only rule over here is that in the selecting yes, no, is that if, let's say, we are only supposed to provide, the contract says door external, and it doesn't really itemize anything down the door internal, okay? So what we can do here is that we can say yes, and the moment we say yes here, at the parent door internal, the all below in door internal become no. So I just show you one more time. So let's say I have the child I have selected for this contract that, okay, we have a specific service to door need in-locking, yes. And then counter door also, yes. Yeah. But then the site says, no, actually, it's not, we don't really itemize the door internal. What do you do is that even if you see any door internal issue, we'll fix it. So we only need to see one line item in the hierarchy. We don't need to see the itemized. So when you say yes to the parent, the all child become no automatically. Okay, and what happens in Maximo, when you look for the offering, you will only see one line, okay, the door internal. Because my system is funny at this moment, yeah, it is doing now. So you can see that all automatically changed to no. Okay? Right. there is a possibility that you might like to fix a priority against a service offering. So just an example, you say that, okay, if this request is for, let's say, for an example, repair external door, okay, and we have said that, okay, this is part of the service offering for the site. Come on, don't do this. I think my system is tired more than me. Right, and you say yes, then, and we say that, okay, if the issue is on the external door repair, then we have to make sure that it is treated urgently, which is the priority 2. So if you select this one in the service offering in Maximo system, it will automatically give the priority 2 to that service request, and it will also calculate SLA as per the time given against the priority 2. Okay, so that you can do. Again, non-mandatory. If you have requirement, you can do that. All these requirements are basically related to a very specific requirement from NORM. So I don't think you need it, so please ignore this optional data. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, from the country code, company code, segment code, etc., it's not required for anybody else at this moment. Okay, this is for integration purposes. Okay.
Okay.
Users, any question?
No. Okay.
No. Okay. Users. So the next sheet is about telling or loading, or giving the information about the Maximo users. So for that purpose, we need to have the person record created in the Gold Master first. Once we have those person records created, given in the Gold Master, you just copy paste them here. Okay, so like say I have given my name in the Gold Master, so I say Manish Khandelwal at sodexo.com. Okay, right? Sorry, I'm not cop, but it shows cop. So let's say I'm cop. Yeah. Display name is a copy paste from there. So you can just copy paste these 2 information from Gold Master. And then we say, what is the user type? Okay. And the user type can be 2 of it. It can be an internal, it can be a customer, it can be existing. So if I am an existing user, I'm already having access to 2-3 sites, and you just want to give me access for this site, then you say existing user, and you don't need to give my data in the Gold Master. But if I'm a new user and I'm Sodexo employee, then you have to give my information in the people data in the Gold Master, and then you also have to say here internal. But what will happen is that once you say internal, when your record gets created, or my record gets created, my record will get created as inactive. So I am not able to use the system until I get the training and somebody goes into the system and make myself active. So when the data is loaded, straight away, nobody can, all the users, those are listed here as internal, will not be able to access systems. The idea is that you only enable their access once the training is delivered and someone in the deployment team change their status from inactive to active. Okay?
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes. Yep, I know that one pretty well.
Yeah, and then on the last side, if it is an internal user, you want sign on, yes or no. 1 is for yes, 0 is for no. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And in general, we want single sign-on, right?
Yeah, so probably just say yes for every, I would say yes. If it is Sodexo email ID and internal user, then say yes, 1. Okay? User roles, the next one, and I'm a little bit, I know we are a little bit ahead with time. On the user roles, so we need to define the user role of what role should we be giving to the user we have just created in the previous sheet. So this Manish Khandelwal is the internal user. We have set it in the previous sheet, but what sort of access we should be giving him? Is he, and then he has a whole list of things here, and basis of that, the user gets access. And if you're not sure what user access allows what access, then you can click on this link. It will take you to the document over here. Click to view security group details. It will take you to the document which explains the access rights against each security group. Okay, so there are plenty of them. You can read them in your leisure time, but one of the important, which I see a common error, is seeing the customer user and customer user manager and customer user manager backup. And those are not here, and you have to say, I'm sorry. So it's here. Okay, you can select maybe a manager role here. But when you say customer manager here in the column G, it means that you also have to give me the customer manager backup user. So if you are creating one user, one internal user, then you definitely cannot create a customer manager. And why do we do that? There's a reason behind it. Because I'm sure you know why we have that kind of a role in Maximo for a user. This role is basically, customer manager is basically a role or a user who would get the request of client user access. You know that, right? Because I know that many people doesn't know about it.
The
yes,
customer
you know
manager accepting or activating users?
No. So what happened is, when you go to Maximo, you have a link called register now, something like that. Okay. So if let's say you have given the client Maximo access, the customer portal access, okay. So what they can do is, and let me do this quick thing, just a minute. Right. I'm sorry, my system has really gone very slow today. It is not showing me that, okay, I have used the wrong URL. I used the SSO. I shouldn't use the SSO. Let me see if I can find that. So if you remember on the Maximo login screen, if you're not an SSO user, and I hope it will bring me. No. If I can do that. Right. So we generally get this home page, right? If it is not a SSO user. So what you can do is that if you're a new user, you can click on this link, register new.
Oh yeah,
so
we
when you click
definitely
on
do
register
that.
New,
We definitely
Yes.
do that for all customer users.
yes. So customer user can fill up this form, and when he submit this form, that escalation goes to the user who has the customer manager role. Okay? You follow this?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And if that customer user doesn't respond in 24 hours, then that escalation moves to the customer manager backup role. Okay?
Yes.
So that's why it is important to have the customer manager backup role, for at least for contingency. Okay?
Yeah.
Make sense? So that's why when you are making somebody customer manager, make sure that you have a backup user as well. Okay. Now, I hope there is no question because I have seen you guys been following very well and you know everything more or less. Escalations. So these are the escalations here. I don't want to go one by one, but these are basically auto email notification triggers. Okay. So there is a trigger on the service request new notification. If there is a new service request created, then who should be notified? And if you want somebody to be notified through email, then provide the person ID, okay, in this column. And if there is any specific thing you want to be, mentioned here, that the email should be written in this way, etc., etc., you can create a hit ticket, and you can ask MTCC. They can do some communication template for you, okay? So likewise, if you have a PR waiting for approval, because of course you are not using the PR PO, so you can skip that. But let's say the work order is not acknowledged, okay, by created but not acknowledged, then there is a time limit on this one. If it is not acknowledged within that time limit, the email goes to probably, let's say, the site manager, okay. So work order notification, okay. So if you want to create some sort of email on the work order specific to, let's say, it's rejected, or is it cancelled, or is it waiting for approval, etc., then you can ask somebody to be notified. You can do that. So there are certain escalations here, with basically a trigger point for email generation. You can use them. So with that, this is all about the supplementary template, global maximum supplementary template. We have created a specific supplementary template, maximum supplementary template for J&J. They had a specific requirement on the offering and the priorities. We have also created a specific template for Nokia. And so they all are posted, the supplementary and Goldmaster, on the data validation tool. And if you are mobilizing Nokia contract, which I doubt you are doing, then you should be using the Nokia supplementary template, then the global one. Same goes with the J&J. Okay. So that's pretty much about Goldmaster, PM Planner, and the supplementary global template Maximo. Any question?
The whole thing. No, I think we're good. This one is a lot more self-explanatory too.
All good? So you guys have the new PM Planner and the guide, I believe.
I also believe, but if you could send it to us again with the guide, it would be great.
Okay, I think I sent it in the last email, didn't I?
Oh, let me check. How am I kidding?
No, I didn't.
Nope.
I will send that. No, I didn't. Okay. I will send the PM Planner template and the guide. Okay? There is a guide on the supplementary. I will also send that supplementary guide to you guys.
Okay, that would be great.
All right. So if there is no question, I would wish you a very good day and a good weekend. We will speak next week.
Wait, I'm sorry. I know it's late, but can I ask you the question that Evandro was going to ask you at the beginning of the thing? So what he's wondering is, how is it done globally when there are a group of assets that need to be parented? Because apparently there's no way to parent assets in the template. But like if you have a split air conditioning unit that has like one of the bits is in an office and the other bit is in the roof, like how do you normally deal with that in the template? Because I know you can do it manually.
So we don't have a standard template for parent-child asset. We have done one project and we created a specific template for that project, which was like some time ago. and I have to. I did it for. I tell you, the site is in India, GE Pune. I have to go back and see whether that template is still aligned with the new requirement. But I can check certainly. If you have such a requirement, you can always request, and we can do something. But for you this particular question, I can go back and check on that parent-child template if they are formalized or whether or not we can formalize now if you have such a requirement. It's a parent-child asset requirement, right?
Yeah, it was more of a procedure question. So how is it done globally? Do people just do the one, or do they do both? If it's because this is what Evander's going to ask, and I'm asking in his stead.
There is no, unfortunately, no such guideline, and we should have a guideline actually. No, I don't have a ready answer for it, Nitin, unfortunately. But let me circle back with our technical team and see if they have something, procedure or something on guide of how do we do that and where do we do that.
Okay.
Okay. So probably in the next call, I owe you a lot. I need to tell you about the job plan to have multiple craft skills. I need to cover back on the maintenance shift. I need to cover on the PM tab, the Sundays and Saturday flag, just to confirm what it is based on my, parent-child asset template. Is there anything else I missed?
No, that's it. It's a lot of stuff, but that's it.
So, yes, no, that's not a lot of stuff, but if you have any other questions, please feel free to drop me a note. But after these sessions, if there is any error in the data templates, I would send you bill $50 for each error.
You will send us directly to jail.
Yeah, $50 for each error.
Vocês ouviram, né? Ele falou que se vocês têm que fazer as perguntas sobre as coisas, porque senão daqui para frente, qualquer erro que tiver no template, ele vai debitar $50 sem custo. Então, é a hora, hein? But yeah,
right,
man, thank you. I think we're good.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. What about my email? Yes, Bartolo, yes. After this call, I'll respond. Or maybe give me just 10-15 minute break. I'll circle back and we may talk. Is it okay? No, 15. It's 50.
Yeah, you said 50.
All right. No, I said 50, not 15. $50. All right. Thank you all. As I said, very good day. And speak to you next week.
Speak to you next week. Thank you.
Bye, Manish. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.